Hey everybody. When it comes to PC water cooling, there's one question that you may commonly see if you look it up on Google. Can I use antifreeze in my water cooling system? You'll see lots and lots of forum posts and stuff like that where people have many different kinds of mixed opinions on the matter. Some people may be like, oh, never put that stuff in your system, it's bad for it. And some people will be like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, you'll be just fine. Some people say you should dilute it down. Some people say it's bad for your plastics, bad for your water block, bad for your reservoir, bad for your pump. Well, to be honest, all you gotta do is go out to your car and pop the hood and look at your car's cooling system. You're gonna find plastic, you're gonna find lots of different things in it. So recently I had a little dilemma. When I was cleaning up the living room, I noticed Mid-Tower Deluxe had algae growing in its water cooling system. It wasn't exactly, it wasn't too bad yet, but it was going to get bad if I didn't take action. The Primo Chill PC Ice PC coolant that I put in there back in January claimed to have a antimicrobial agent already in the coolant, which apparently was a big fat lie, because the coolant failed to do its job at keeping algae and other nasties out of the system. Well, I happen to already have a jug of 50/50 premixed antifreeze out of my car because I do have to top its coolant system off every once in a while. So I already had this on hand. So once I got everything flushed out of the water cooling system, because again, as I mentioned, it wasn't too bad yet, I was able to just flush it out and rinse out the reservoir really good and get all out of there. I need to put something back in the system. So I had the choice of waiting several days for a PC coolant to arrive, meantime use distilled water. Some people say you can just use distilled water and put one of those silver coils in your reservoir. I mean, people from online, what I've seen, have had mixed opinions with that. With distilled water, you generally have to do flushes more often. Probably like once a year, I've heard. Whereas with your car antifreeze, the additives in there protect the metal from corrosion. They help lubricate your water pump. And there's some things in antifreeze that you don't necessarily need because, I mean, for example, in most cases your computer is not going to be experiencing below freezing temperatures or temperatures above boiling point. But there are some things in automotive antifreeze, again, that are beneficial. Again, as I mentioned, the anti-corrosive agents for your metals. They inhibit the growth of algae in the coolant and things like that. Personally, what I did is, my coolant was 50/50 premixed. What you want to do is, if you do use it in your system, you want to dilute it down to 3 parts water, 1/4 antifreeze. So the stuff I had was already half and half. So I put it into a mixing jug and dumped in just as much distilled water to dilute it down, and then add it into the system. And it's been working just fine, no problems at all. And you can see the slight hint of green on the tubing there, which actually doesn't look bad. I wonder if this tubing will get stained up from it or not. The Fluid XP Plus I used a while back, in the previous Mid-Tower Lux, it made a mess. It made a real mess. But when it comes to automotive antifreeze, personally, I think if it's something you already have available out in the garage or whatnot, and you need something right away, it'll work. It'll work. I wouldn't recommend using something like Dexcool in your system. That's because Dexcool has been known to have issues in a lot of GM cars. But as I mentioned earlier, as far as the it will mess up your plastics, it'll mess up your your block and stuff like that. Mess up your O-rings, blah, 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 blah. My 96 Jeep Grand Cherokee has a radiator with plastic end caps on it. It has a plastic reservoir. The water pump has several O-rings in it, including the heater return line. There's an O-ring that on the side of the water pump where the line goes into the outside the pump. The thermostat the thermostat housing is aluminum. The intake manifold is aluminum. Aluminum radiator, cast iron engine block. So you're mixing metals. You have plastics in your system, including the overflow tank. You have your rubber hoses, all that good stuff. In some ways, your car's cooling system isn't too much different from your computer's cooling system if you have a custom water cooling system. And when it comes to these pre-filled, ready-to-use water cooling loops that you just from like Corsair and such, a lot of times they mix metals. They may have aluminum radiator, but a copper water block, and they have to have a special kind of coolant that helps inhibit back and forth corrosion of these metals. So perhaps if you are servicing a all-in-one pre-filled closed loop system, maybe antifreeze, diluted automotive antifreeze would work for you better. So if I haven't mentioned already, the common ingredient of most automotive antifreezes out there is ethylene glycol. It is poisonous if you drink it, or if your animals, your pets drink it. It's something to keep in mind, really, especially if you have pets in your house. I think especially if you have cats in your house, because cats are known to get into every single freaking thing. But, for those who say you should never have ethylene glycol in your PC water cooling system, well, I want you guys to have a look at this. Up there is a reservoir which originally was included with a Thermaltake Big Water 735 water cooling system. The system was pulled, the original water pump and res, along with the original acrylic and copper mixed water block and copper tubing radiator, was pulled out of a part system in 2011. I want you guys to take a moment and guess what kind of coolant that system had. And yes, it still had its coolant in the system when I got it. Okay, have you figured it out yet? Okay, let's have a look at the specs on Thermaltake's website. So it mentions right there the material in the water block is copper and acrylic. Copper block, but acrylic cover. But I want you guys to have a look at this. Let's have a look at the coolant specifications. Yeah. Do you see that? Major material, ethylene glycol. It was the exact same color, had the exact same smell as this diluted down Prestone 50/50 pre-diluted antifreeze coolant. The exact same color, exact same smell, exact same stuff. So, for those of you out there who say, nah, don't ever put antifreeze in your system. Well, personally, I would recommend if you do, get an antifreeze that is 50/50 pre-diluted. I wouldn't recommend Dexcool. I also recommend diluting it down to where it's 25% antifreeze and 75% distilled water. So that way the coolant isn't quite as thick. Because the coolant is, in fact, thicker than let's say your regular distilled water or some PC coolant out there. I know this because the speed of the pump is just ever so slightly slower, but it's been working just fine. So anyways, if you're in a pinch and you have some out in the garage, you can use antifreeze in your water cooling system and you should be just fine. Don't forget, some PC coolants out there have the same exact major ingredient, ethylene glycol. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Well guys, that's it for this one. But it doesn't have to be. There's plenty more videos on the channel to check out. Also, if you liked the video, please click the like button. And if you absolutely hated it, there is the alternative button as well. But yeah, please subscribe to the channel. I definitely appreciate it. And remember to click the bell so that we get notified of all updates. Also, if you're interested in things aside from computers and technology, check out my second channel. It's CubeComp MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about weather, elevators, bicycling, and pretty much whatever else I figure out to upload. So yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for your support.